Oh, dang it. Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm very excited to be here today and I have an exciting video for us. This is something a little new. We're switching it up, but I thought that this would be really helpful for you guys because I know that this is a big part of my spiritual journey and it's always helpful, so I just hope that I can encourage you guys and help you guys to find some good reads if that's something that you're into. So we're gonna get right into it. We're going to be having a Christian book haul. I'm really excited about this and I don't know why I didn't think of this sooner. I have a little bookshelf on top of my dresser. I definitely want to get like a big bookshelf to put all the books in there, but I just picked out a couple that I really think would be helpful for you guys. So we're just gonna dive right into this Christian book haul. Okay, so we have our books. So I'm just gonna show you guys these books and give you just a little explanation of why they're super important and how they made a difference in my life. So first up we have 50 Days of Heaven, and this is by Randy Alcorn. Randy Alcorn is a really amazing author and he is like really gifted in the area of talking about heaven. And heaven is something that I always try to just keep in the front of my mind because being eternally minded is so important. And so when you're excited about what's to come, it just motivates you and it makes you super happy. So this just brings like scripture to life. It's reflections that bring eternity to light, and it just takes the scriptures from the Bible and explains what that means in terms of heaven and what it's going to be like, and it just helps you to get really excited. There's another book also called Imagine Heaven that I have, and I really recommend that book as well. So definitely get some books on heaven because it will be super motivating and just hope-giving to you. Next up, I have some prayer books that I recommend. So first is With Christ in the School of Prayer, and this is by Andrew Murray, however you say his name. He's a really amazing writer. I think this is him. Anyways, so this book is so good. It was my first book on prayer that my mentor gave me, and it just talks you through how to pray, and like it's literally like a course that you take with Jesus. That's what it feels like, because it takes you through the Lord's Prayer and it takes you through the different times in the Gospels where Jesus talked about prayer and what it means, and you just really get a good understanding on what prayer actually is and how powerful it is. And there's a study guide here as well at the like end of it, so you can go along, and with each chapter you can answer the questions for that chapter. So highly recommend With Christ in the School of Prayer. Next up is another prayer book. This is called Fervent by Priscilla Schreier. It says a woman's battle plan for serious, specific, and strategic prayer. But I would like to say that men can read this too because it is seriously so helpful. This just talks about spiritual warfare a lot, and that we have a real enemy that does not want us to succeed in our faith. And so this is like serious, specific, strategic prayers to go against the schemes of the enemy, and it really opens your eyes to see like how he's trying to get you and in what areas he usually tries to creep in and mess with. And so when you're prepared for that and when you are praying against those, it really has changed my spiritual life, and it really just helps you to have a better understanding of the faith and what it's like to walk in spiritual warfare and to just have more confidence in that area. So I definitely recommend Fervent by Priscilla Schreier. Also, she's an amazing speaker and I love her. So next up, I have to say I did not finish this yet because I feel that God wanted me to just take a pause and go to a different book, and honestly I haven't been able to go back to this book, but I want to soon. This is called Invitation to Solitude and Silence. And so this book is really good for strengthening your relationship with God, because it talks about how to just hear from God and be still with God, which is something that we struggle with. I struggle with it. A lot of people struggle with just being still and just being quiet and being before the Lord, because we're the type of generation where we want things quick and we don't like waiting, and it takes patience. But this just talks about the beauty of just being still and being in God's presence, and how you can practice mindful ways to hear from Him and to meditate on Him and His Word. So definitely recommend this if this is an area that you want to grow in, if you want to hear more from God and hear His voice better. I definitely recommend this book. So I'm going to link all the books below, by the way. So there is another book here. This is by David G. Benner, and it's called Desiring God's Will. So this guy's a really amazing author. He's Christian. He's also a psychologist, I'm pretty sure. And so he has 2 other books that go with these series. And one of them is called Surrender to Perfect Love, which is so good. And it just talks about how we need to first surrender to God's perfect love and understand His love for us before we can make the following steps in our faith walk, because we really need to grasp and understand that concept that we are so loved by God. So that is one that I recommend. That also goes with this, Desiring God's Will, and this just basically is aligning your heart with God's and with His desire. Oh, and the other one, there's 3 that I recommend to get together, is called The Gift of Being Yourself. And it's a really amazing book, and it just helps you to discover yourself more. Like, you get to discover the person that God created you to be. And it's a really amazing resource to have, so I definitely recommend that book as well. David G. Benner is an awesome writer, so highly recommend. Next up, Boundaries. You guys have probably heard of this book. This is a very popular book. This is by Henry Cloud and Dr. John Townsend. So Henry Cloud is a really amazing speaker as well. He is a psychologist. Oh, what? He's a psychologist, and he's a Christian, and he is just super, super knowledgeable. So definitely just recommend Henry Cloud and looking up some of his messages, because he's just really good. But Boundaries is like, you need this book. Like, you literally need this book. It says when to say yes, how to say no, to take control of your life. This is such a good teaching, because it really helps you to understand when you are people pleasing and when you are allowing people to take advantage of you, and how to say no and when to say no, and when it's okay to say no and say yes, and all those different things. It's just really, really amazing. This can make such a big difference in your relationships, in your friendships, in your workplace. This can apply to so many different areas of your life, and it has truly brought so much transformation to so many different people's lives that I know from this book. They also have Boundaries on relationships alone that you can get as well. This is Boundaries just in general that I have, but it's a super good book, so definitely recommend Boundaries. Wait, this is actually so fun. You know what? Maybe I'll do like a book haul like every couple months or so, because I have more books. This is so exciting. Book right now that I'm reading. Actually, no, I just finished this book. You and Me Forever by Frances Chan and Lisa Chan. So Frances Chan is, I think, my fave preacher. I just really, really like how real he is about the gospel, and how raw he is, and how he doesn't sugarcoat it, And so you can tell in this writing that he's not sugarcoating anything, and it's not like the typical relationship books where it just talks about like having the perfect life and the perfect family and the perfect like whatever. It obviously gives good advice about having a successful marriage and family, but this book takes your eyes off of the marriage itself and onto the bigger picture. And it helps to focus you on God and on eternity and what the point of marriage even is. And I have found this super helpful. Honestly, if you're not in a relationship, I still recommend to read this book. If you're single, if you're in a relationship, this has really changed my perspective on so many different things and how I see my future and how I want to live out my future. So this is just so good. And it also really helps you understand the roles of husbands and wives and how that relates to Jesus and the church and how we are representing him in our marriage. And it just helps you to clarify and understand it a lot better, because I know that sometimes it can be confusing. So definitely recommend this book, You and Me Forever, Marriage in Light of Eternity by Francis Chan and Lisa Chan. Okay, so last one. This is actually a book that I am going to start reading next. And this is called The Weight of Glory by C.S. Lewis. And C.S. Lewis is an amazing writer. You guys have definitely heard of him. And I want to read this book because I want to understand God's holiness and his glory more, and I want to have more of a reverence of him. So I just am really excited about this because I feel like it will help me to just have that awe of him more, and I just would like more of that in my life, and I just feel like it will help to fuel me in different areas of my life. So yeah, there's a quote from this book that I want to read because it's so good, and I'm pretty sure it's from this book. If not, it's still a good quote, so we're gonna look it up. Hey Siri. Every time I read this, I just want to cry. So this is a quote by C.S. Lewis, and he's basically talking about the life that God offers us and how we settle for such less. So it says, "We are half-hearted creatures, fooling about with drink and sex and ambition when infinite joy is offered us, like an ignorant child who wants to go on making mud pies in a slum because he cannot imagine what is meant by the offer of a holiday at the sea. We are far too easily pleased." I 100% agree with that quote. You don't realize how amazing life is until you don't start living until you start living in relationship with God. Because all those other things that are temporarily fun end up destroying you and destroying your joy and your happiness, and it never fulfills. But life with God, amazing. Literally amazing. Okay, so that's it for today's video. I hope that you guys enjoyed, and I hope that you guys are clicking on the links and checking out the books because they will seriously make a huge difference in your lives. I'm just a really big fan of books and reading books and continuing your knowledge in different areas of the faith and growing in them. So I just would really recommend to check out these books. If you guys have any book recommendations, I would love to hear them, so you can write it in the comments below. That would be super helpful because it's always good to read new books and to get new knowledge and info on different areas. So I would really love that. If you guys did like this video, make sure to like it and subscribe to my channel. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope that you guys have an amazing and